Hello, everyone, and welcome back to On Air. I'm Sarah.
And I'm Ariana.
And this is officially our second podcast, which is so exciting because I personally have started 4 separate podcasts.
Episode ones.
Episode ones. Yeah, I've had one whole episode, and then I'm like, what am I doing with my life? Should I do it like that? I don't know. I've wanted to do a podcast for years, primarily just to learn how to speak.
It's actually really hard.
Organize my thoughts and try to articulate them and convey some sort of thought to someone else. It is hard.
It sounds easy,
Can
and
you
it's
tell?
not easy. Especially rewatching our first podcast episode. Here I am saying the bad word, like.
You do notice some of your bad habits.
Very bad habits. Also, sometimes I'm thinking, the thoughts in here are not that dumb, but when they come out, why do they, you know what I mean? I was like, I think the thoughts in here are averagely smart, and when they come out of my mouth, they don't sound that way.
Some people are just so good at organizing their thoughts, using beautiful words, and just making it this lovely story.
Yeah.
To hear. And I think the way you get better at that is just practice.
Yeah, well, this is only episode 2, so stay tuned because we're about to sound really smart.
We're almost really smart.
Just wait.
Yeah. Can't be that much longer. And I heard a statistic, and by the time you get to your 21st podcast, you're in the top 1% of podcasters. Because everyone is like me and puts out one and then is like, no, I can't do it. It's too scary.
Or it's hard. Stops. It's harder than you think, too.
Yeah.
Well, when we first started our business, we recorded a singular podcast episode that hopefully nobody ever sees, and it never went anywhere, but we didn't make it past episode 1. I mean, it was trash, and we didn't really know what we were doing. Like, now we have a clear direction of where we're going with our business, and so I feel like we can,
or just like what we want to
say, what we're doing. So now we're at episode 2. We did it. We did better than the last time. So
now that we've said all of this shit, we're gonna have to like actually do this.
What do you mean? What shit?
Now we've just been like, we're at 2 and we did 1, and oh my god.
The only way that we are able to hold ourselves accountable is putting things out into the universe.
That is so true. And making promises to random people who don't care, and then being like, well, we said we'd do it. We have to do it now. That's actually the only way I can. I'm like, I'll do this by Wednesday. No one really is listening, but then it makes me feel like I have to do it.
Yeah. Even for the second kind of avenue, like revenue stream of our business, we put out a public launch date in order to keep ourselves accountable.
Yeah, and I don't think anyone really knew.
No, they didn't.
Some people.
Probably no one cared, but it kept us accountable. And so if us saying right now that we're going to make it to podcast episode 21,
at least.
Yeah, because we have this thing that's called fear of disappointment.
Yeah.
So now we're going to do it.
Fear of disappointing people we've never met.
That's
trying to work through that.
Sadly true.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so all that to say that this week we are talking about our first experience with entrepreneurship, how we kind of like heard about it, wanted to get into it.
Like who we kind of saw first.
Yeah, like was it a conscious decision, or was it kind of just something we fell into, and just like the background on that?
Yeah.
So for you, who was kind of the first entrepreneur, business owner person in your life?
Well, my grandparents owned a business, like their whole working lives essentially, and my parents also owned a small business, and a lot of their friends were business owners, and even my brother, he started his own business. So I feel like I was around a lot of like small business owners, but I think living with my parents, obviously growing up and seeing the ups and downs of running a business kind of deterred me a little bit, if I'm being honest, just because
fair enough,
the highs are high and the lows are low, and they kind of built a business where they had to be available and working almost all of the time, which I think a lot of people, they think if I'm a business owner, I'll have freedom. but you can build a business with freedom, or you can build a business without freedom. And so they kind of had a business where it was hard to take breaks, and it was hard to, it was just hard to kind of have.
They had to be there for it.
Spare time. Like, it was demanding. And then my brother built a business that it was kind of similar, where he had to be there. Like, things couldn't
like
just
physically there.
He had to physically be there.
Yeah.
And so I think I never really considered it. Like, I went to business school, and I kind of just figured that I would follow this path that would just be like stable. So show up to work, you do a good job, you get paid.
Mm-hmm.
And there was never this like concern about, not that there was a concern, but you're not like, if you just show up, you're going to have a stable income.
Right. And
so I kind of figured that was the path. I never really considered entrepreneurship at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or I don't even think I knew entrepreneurship. Like, I didn't want to be a business owner.
Yeah.
Not that I consciously was like, I don't want to do that, but I just never really considered it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then when I did follow this path that was stable and secure, we kind of talked about it in the last episode, but it wasn't for me. And I just felt super trapped and suffocated. And so at that point is when I started actually considering like starting my own business. It almost came from like a sense of desperation, because I was like,
like your last option.
Yeah, like I need to break free from whatever this world is. And the way to do that is to be my own boss and to not have to answer to other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think I tried starting a lot of things, honestly, and it was very much from a place of desperation, but I like was posting cooking videos on TikTok. I tried drop shipping. I ordered samples of clothing because it was through COVID, and I feel like everyone was starting like an online clothing business, but I was like, I can do that.
Everybody was doing it.
Everyone was doing it. It can't be that hard. Oh my God. So yeah, I tried. Now, I feel like I didn't give any of those that solid of a try. Like, I tried, and then I was like, oh. Because I think when you're in that spot of desperation, you're looking for something that's just like a quick fix.
Yeah. 100%.
Which it's not. Being a business owner is not a quick fix to whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And probably any of those actually could have worked.
Yeah, if I just tried harder.
Or like committed to one.
Yeah.
But like it is hard if you're like kind of doing 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Like flipping back and
all
forth.
At the same time. Plus having this like super demanding job.
Oh, this is while you're still working.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the time I was thinking I need to do this side hustle. Also, I feel like back then, not that it was that long ago, but I feel like 4 or 5 years ago, this side hustle culture was so extreme.
Yes.
It was like, you need to have a side hustle. Like, everyone has a side hustle. Have a side hustle. Otherwise, you're a lazy piece of shit. Like, what are you doing not having a side hustle? Like, it got pretty extreme for a bit, in my opinion.
Did it? Yeah, I think so.
I feel like it did.
I remember it being a thing. Maybe it's still a thing. I don't know.
Maybe it's still a thing. So
it's definitely like, yeah, you do see it online where it's just like, or like make passive income doing this really easy thing. And then you try and you're like, this wasn't easy.
And it wasn't that much money. And considering like time versus money, it wasn't worth it. But anyways, I got kind of sucked into that side hustle thing, and I was like, well, side hustle, blow that up, and then I can quit my job. That will be my ticket to freedom. Mm-hmm. Which didn't happen that way, as we kind of discussed before. But yeah, so that was kind of my first taste. But what about you?
Your first taste.
Oh my God. Ew, that's creepy. I hope I never do that again. I'm so sorry.
You have control over that. You don't have to do it.
I have control over my own life. Okay.
Just starts. I have control over me. I can only control the things that I can control.
I can only control.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Okay.
My first experience, well, similar thing. Like my mom growing up had her own business, but it wasn't, I don't know. It never really like clicked with me that it was like a business and she was a business owner.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
What kind of work was she doing? Was it like?
She was teaching singing. So my mom was an opera singer and she was teaching opera.
So,
but it was more just like someone has a lesson and then they pay for the lesson, I guess. So maybe, I don't know. But she didn't have like like it wasn't
what your idea of like a business structured thing looked like.
And I don't know if I even was thinking about that. Like growing up, I don't think I knew that you went to school for business. I don't even think I knew that was a thing. Or that accounting. Like I knew accountants exist. I'd heard the word. But like I never thought, oh, well, anything about accounting. Anything about business. Never even crossed my mind to do as a job. I don't think I really thought about what to do as a job growing up.
Yeah.
At all.
Well, you said you took time off after high school to figure that out too, right?
Yeah, I took like three years off after high school.
I wish I did that.
I'm not sure I was like, I'm taking time to figure out what to do. I was just like, I don't know what the fuck to do, so I'm not going to just like,
okay, but that's a safe thing.
Okay, but it wasn't like a conscious decision. It was more just like high school's over. Time is passing. That was more like it.
Yeah, okay.
And I was still like working a ton. Like I was working as a server at like in the evenings, and then I was working at a riding stable in the day. So I was working like all the time. But yeah, I knew people obviously went to university and school and stuff. And after a couple of years, I was like, okay, I need to like figure out what the fuck I'm doing with my life. And I remember being like kind of panicked about it. So I just started going to school and took like went to the college in my hometown and just took 3 random courses. Took like English. What did I take? English, psychology, and history. Like something so random. Like I didn't even take a single business course. I didn't even know was a thing.
It's so hard to picture you doing those, like taking those courses. Actually, I could see you taking English.
Yeah.
But
I didn't love it. I didn't really love any of those. They were fine. Somewhat kind of interesting. Something about psychology, which is so crazy because now I like am obsessed with it. But like the classes there, probably because it was like a 101, like psych 101 class. But it was just so. I think I tried one and then I dropped out of it. And we went to the first class and they were like, the question was like, how do you know if you're dreaming? And then someone raised their hand and they're like, because in real life, I can eat. And when I dream, I don't eat. And I was like, I have to get out of here. I can't be here. I can't sit there. I don't know why.
I love psychology.
I don't know. I'm sure.
But I didn't have that girl in my class.
I know. And I'm sure it was just like that class, that lesson. But it was just, I just remember being like,
the prof.
Oh my God, is this psychology? Like I went for one single class. Like I barely gave it a try. But I was like, this is what psychology is. I have to get out of here. I can't do this. I don't know why. I just like, anyways. But it wasn't until I met my now husband, Anthony, and he was doing business. And I was like, oh, what's business?
You're like, I want to do business too.
I can do business.
Oh my God. That's so interesting.
And then I just realized business was closer to like math, which I always loved in high school. Or like, I don't know if I loved it, but it was just really easy. And so I just started doing business. And then I took an accounting class. And I was like, oh, that was kind of cool. And then they were like, this is accounting. If you want to go the next step for accounting, you're going to be a CPA. And I was like, cool. Done.
You're like, well, that's the next thing, so I guess I'm doing it.
Yeah. And once I have a goal, I'm really good at getting to the goal. But I did like flip-flop all the way the whole time. And then I was like, oh, guess I'm doing a CPA. And they're like, it's easiest to get a CPA at public practice. And I was like, guess I'm doing that. And I just like just trotted along. I was like, dee. I don't even know how I started talking about that. But
so you never considered starting business. Also, if you are going into accounting, they don't really say like, yeah, you could have an accounting business. Like they don't. I mean, even when you're in
it's definitely not
school,
a focus.
No,
and even like it is hard to say exactly what other people's experience was because I did choose accounting as a specialty like right away. So maybe there are courses that are a bit more like entrepreneurship focused, but I don't remember us having like how to start a business class.
I did not have how to start a business class or entrepreneurship. And at my school, I don't know if it was the same at yours, but for the first 2 years, all business students are taking the same courses. So like accounting, finance, marketing, human resources. I feel like there's another one, but I forget. I feel like there was 5, but
organizational behavior.
Oh my God, okay, I'm not gonna talk about that. But yeah, we all took the same like first 2 years, and then you did your specialty the last 2 years. But you would think in those first 2 years you'd have an entrepreneurship course, and we didn't, unless it was an elective that I chose not to take, which was very possible. But it feels like something that's a part.
We definitely didn't have it
of the business curriculum. Like I almost feel like it should be compulsory.
It almost feels like if you're going to business school, you're trying to start your own business, but I guess not. I guess it's just like business topics.
But it's actually now that I think about it, it's almost like just positions in a company.
Yeah,
it's not business. Like it's how to have a job in this department in a company.
Yeah.
So dumb.
Which, I mean, you need. Like, you can't go be an accountant or a...
Yeah, but you would think...
other business job without it.
You would think out of all of the programs that there are, business school would teach you how to start a business.
Yeah.
It feels like the right place for an entrepreneurship course.
I mean, I'm sure... yeah, maybe now they have more. I don't know. It is interesting, though.
Yeah.
Because it's maybe also partially just being naive, but you, like, in my mind, I was like, well, I went to business school and I'm a CPA. So running a business...
yeah, you're so smart.
I'll probably be so good at it.
It'll probably come natural.
I'll probably be so, like,
second nature. Business. Yeah.
And it's not.
No.
It's just different. It's, like, so different.
But I feel like the best way to learn how to start a business is to just dive in.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Or obviously talk with people who have also started businesses.
Yeah.
But yeah.
100%.
Okay. What was the very first move you made after deciding to start a business? I guess I kind of forced it on you. I didn't force it on you.
Well, okay, so it's not like I was like never thought of starting a business and then one day you just text me being like, should we start a business? Like, I was like, at that point I was like obsessed with, not obsessed, but like I was definitely like, ooh, I should start a business. Like I had different ideas. I'd also tried some different things. I kind of tried my own, like, it wasn't like a bookkeeping accounting company, but it was more just like me doing that for friends and family.
Yeah.
And then
I remember you talking about potentially doing like a bookkeeping company.
And I was definitely like helping people that I just knew. Like I had a couple clients, but they were just like a friend of a friend who needed help or like couldn't figure this out. And I was like, oh, I can help them.
Yeah.
And I just was like, I don't know, pay me this. So it was pretty like, yeah, just if someone just came up and asked me. But I think how it happened is when after we did our 1 year like contract together, where we were consulting on that.
That's where we met.
Fun fact. The fintech company we were working for. It was kind of like it was more like a tech startup app vibe.
Very much a startup environment also.
Yes.
Like it was,
which was cool to experience.
It was super cool to experience. Yeah. And we learned so much at that place.
Mm-hmm. And it was interesting to see like an idea and then like working on it and then like trying to get to come to life and just seeing like, oh wow, there's like, it's just like a whole new world.
Yeah.
When you haven't been in that, of people like raising money or like making products.
Yeah. Especially when you're so used to this like structured big corporation job, like going from that, you're like, oh my God, there's a whole new world out there. People work like this and make money. This is crazy.
Yeah. And also to go from a job where it's like so structured,
yeah,
like there's a process for everything, to a company where it's like brand new. So there's no process for anything.
Zero structure.
You actually don't even really know what you're doing.
You have no idea what's going on.
Like, you figure out what you're doing and you're like, okay, like which is cool.
Yeah.
I actually really liked it, but it's very different. For sure.
So different. Yeah.
Yeah. So then after that contract was done and like kind of getting a taste of that world when you texted me. Well, to be honest, I wasn't like, yes, right away. But I was definitely like, oh, I think I want to do this. But then I've been trying not to be quite so like, yeah, because I love to do that. And then be like, oh, wow, I just said yes to every single thing anyone asked me, and now I'm overwhelmed. So I was like, I think I'm going to take a 1 week break.
Okay. To be fair, our contract ended and we really did need a mental break after.
Yeah.
Like, it was a lot.
It was intense.
It was very intense. And so we should have taken like a month off to just unwind after that. But I think I was in such a I don't know. I think I thought once that contract ended, my options were like start a business or get another job, like that really stressful job. And I think I almost started having a little bit of PTSD, and I was like, I can't go back to that. Like, I started panicking, being like, there is no way I am able to go back to that type of job. I'm like, that will be just the worst thing for me. And so I was immediately thinking about what I could do.
Yeah.
And so I texted you immediately after, and I was like, I'm gonna start a bookkeeping company. Do you want to join? If not, no worries, but just letting you know this is what I'm doing, and you're welcome to join. And you were like, I literally need to like reset my mind for a little bit. I'll come back to you.
And I'm like, give me 1 week. Yeah, well,
which I'm pretty sure you texted me after like 2 days.
Yeah. I just gave myself a week, but I was like, yeah of course. Like, it does sound pretty fun. And we had kind of talked about it before. Like, it wasn't like completely out of the blue. We were definitely like, oh, the stuff we've learned and figured out and saw, like, feel like we could do a cool structure for a bookkeeping company. And lots of people were like in my own personal life, people just were always asking me like, do you know a bookkeeper? Do you know a bookkeeper? We need a like that kind of thing. So I'm like, there's clearly demand for this.
Yeah. I think also what gave me the confidence to just say I'm doing this is my friend asking for help with their books, like their business's books. And so I was like, well,
you're like, wow,
that's my first client.
Client number 1 done.
Easy. Yay. So yeah, I think that kind of gave me the confidence to say, because I think I went to her place and I was kind of thinking, or I was saying, I don't know what to do. I'm thinking about starting a bookkeeping company. I just can't go back to this like corporate style job. And she was like, we'll be your first client and it's gonna be no problem and it's gonna be great. So
and you're like, okay, done.
I was like, thank you. Yeah, so that was kind of the start. It wasn't anything groundbreakingly amazing or cool.
Yeah, it wasn't some crazy exciting perfect plan.
Yeah, and I think what was running through, it's hard because that was also the first time we were truly on our own, like as far as making ends meet. That was the first time we were fully on our own, and I think at the time I was a little bit scared.
Yeah, I'm still scared.
Yeah. I'm always scared.
No, I'm scared.
Yeah, at the time I was a little scared. But we persevered. Were you scared? Was there a moment that you felt like, okay, this is real, like we're doing this?
I don't think I was scared in the sense that I was like because in my head I'm not that I have a plan B, but I'm like, well, literally worst case, I just can go get a job.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I don't want to do that, but like worst case, I could do that.
You're not gonna go hungry.
No.
Yeah.
So that is nice to be like, to feel like that. What was the question?
Was there a moment? Was there a moment where you felt like, okay, this is real?
Oh, I see. Well, it is interesting because I feel like for the first couple weeks of us working together, because we're like, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do a company, And we're going to do bookkeeping. We're going to do advisory work. We're going to do consulting. We might do taxes. We might do accounting work. We might do that. Like, we're just like, we're going to do all the things. And so for the first 2 weeks, we did all the like classic brand new, you just started a business tasks, which are actually so fun.
So fun. And it really motivated us. We were like, we're amazing. We can do this. It's going to be so awesome. We finally have control over our own lives. We're doing this. This is all ours.
Yeah. And you got to do the fun stuff like, what's the name going to be? Buy the domain, set up the website. What services are you going to do? Like all that kind of stuff. Yeah. And that lasts like, well, we like powered through it just because we'd had to do it before for another company. So we kind of knew the steps. So we're just like, we're doing this. Yeah. So that's like the first couple weeks. And then you're like, okay, now I guess we have to find people to like
give us money.
And we have to be able to like talk to people and like articulate to them what we're doing. Now, luckily, people kind of get what bookkeeping and accounting is, but it's definitely a new thing too to be like selling your services like that.
We also kind of were marketing and pricing in a different way than most bookkeepers, which I think made it a little bit more difficult to communicate.
Yeah.
So and then we weren't charging hourly.
And I think at the start we were like, we don't want to charge hourly, but then you're like, okay, great. So then what are we doing? Mm-hmm. How are we charging? How do we figure it out? What services cost what? How do we like, yeah. So that was a little bit of something to figure out and get over. And then people kind of just started sending like word of mouth, sending us people. And then I think it was when we got like our first few clients that I was like, I guess we have to do this because I just signed a contract. Yeah. It was more that.
That was exactly what I had down to. I feel like the first time we signed a contract.
Mm-hmm. That wasn't with like a friend.
Yeah.
Well, even with a friend, but like, you know what I mean?
Well, yeah. I think the first contract, even though it was with a friend, I was like, okay, we're doing this. This is really exciting. But the first time we signed a contract that wasn't a friend, that felt really exciting. That felt like, okay, we have a chance. We have a fighting chance.
Yeah, like someone like we created a thing. This is what we're doing. We told it to someone else and they're like, awesome, I'm going to give you money to do that thing.
And you're like, oh my God, you don't even know me and you want to give me money? This is crazy.
Yeah.
Do you trust me? Okay.
Great.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And then, yeah, you joined that networking thing and then we had lots of clients.
Yeah, that was actually awesome. So I think that also made it feel real because like the networking thing I joined, you had to go there every day and basically you do like a 30-second thing every meeting. Not thing. 30-second.
Like a presentation.
Yeah, like just a little like, hey, I'm Sarah, we do this type of stuff. We look for these types of clients, which is really cool. It's actually a really great structure and it's awesome for getting clients and sharing work and creating a network of people.
Yeah.
It was at 6:45 in the morning.
That part's not as awesome.
And I am not a morning person, but I was like, oh, I don't care. I can still do it. Which I could, obviously. I can get up if I have to.
But it's hard.
This is more a testament to that group. It was amazing. They sent us so many people that I swear after like a couple weeks, we were like, okay, we either need to like hire someone or we need to like chill for a second.
Yeah, I think the networking group was so amazing for getting clients, but I think because it was just so much right off the get-go.
And we were so brand new.
And I also think when you're brand new, it's really hard to say no.
Yeah.
Really hard to say no.
Yeah.
So we just were getting clients left, right, and center.
Yeah.
Which is really exciting until you have to onboard them all. And then you're like, ah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then also we had to figure out our pricing a little bit, which was fine. But I think I forget where I was going with this.
How embarrassing.
I know. I told you the thoughts up here are not that dumb, but when they come out, it just doesn't make any sense at all.
It's hard to say what you're thinking, honestly. They make it sound good.
It is hard.
I think you're doing great.
Oh my God, now you're making me nervous. I'm just kidding. I had a thought and I lost it.
It'll come back.
It will come back. It was something to do with all of the clients.
Well, I don't know.
Okay, so we kind of talked about,
Wow.
Okay, well, can't be.
Hello?
Okay, now you guys have met our director and security guard, executive producer, and mascot. Okay, can you go maybe somewhere else? Murphy? Okay. Yes, can you go? I know, you're so perfect. No, don't. Do not get comfortable. No. Okay. Intermission. I know, but I have a job where I have to work. I know it doesn't seem like work, but it is. Okay, come on.
It's like, no, it's not.
Come on.
3 hours later.
Let's go.
He knows what he wants.
Murph.
Go see. Oh, what is it?
Come on.
Oh my gosh. Go see. Aw.
I know.
Okay, we'll pet him after.
I feel bad.
Extra love after.
I feel bad, but also
He'll just sit and pant.
sometimes you gotta trick your kids.
Oh Lord.
Yeah, he would sit there and pant, and
Do you want to hear something disgusting?
absolutely.
Okay, so I'm in my 30s and I have
That
a
is
horse.
disgusting.
Oh my
I'm
gosh.
just kidding. I'm
Okay.
30.
I have a horse. And sometimes, and 2 dogs. But anyways, and sometimes as someone without children and animals, I get concerned that I'm starting to get weird, like one of those people who just has animals.
This is your first thought on why people might think you're weird.
No, it gets weirder.
Okay.
It's not really about me being weird. I don't know why you'd take it there.
You just said that. You just said, I think people might think I'm weird. Did you not?
I did.
Okay.
That's not the point of the story, though. Okay.
Okay, sorry.
It kind of is. Okay. So anyway, so I sometimes get concerned. Okay, whatever. So my horse had this like bump thing that she got. Anyways, TMI, it's not bad at all, but it was just bad enough that I was like, oh, I don't know if I should ride her, or maybe I should, or she seems okay, blah, blah. So that's when I turn to people who aren't me, who are professionals, and I just go, hey, does this seem okay? And then they're like, yeah, they're kind of like, you're overreacting. So then you're overreacting. But I'm always a little bit like, I'm probably overreacting because I tend to be more on that side. So I asked one of the girls there who's also a vet tech. I'm like, hey, can you look at this? If this was your horse, what would you do? I love to be super cautious and sometimes over the top. And she's like, oh, it's probably fine. And then I was like, oh, good. I'm always just a little, I'm probably just getting weird because I have just animals, no children. And then she said, this is such a long intro to the story. The point of the story is she said, no, you're not that weird. Someone came to the office with their dog and they chew their dog's kibble for them
No,
and
you're
spit
lying.
it back out. I said that to her. I was like, you're lying. I'm like, you made that up. That's a joke.
No.
She's like, I swear to God, this person chews their dog's food and spits it back out. She's like, we were in the office and I tried to give their dog I was like, can your dog have a treat? And they chewed it up for them.
No, you're not lying. They're lying.
She must be lying.
No fucking way.
That's what I said. I was like,
Imagine
like-
you're the vet tech and
she is the best.
I know, but imagine in her shoes.
Yeah.
You go to give a dog a treat and the owner's like,
Well,
and
yeah.
then is like, here you go, just like a bird. Just,
Yes.
like, spit
Yes.
up, and
She
then-
said that. She used the word like a baby bird. She must be lying. I'm gonna have to ask her about it. I was like,
That
she-
seems
I don't-
like a pretty elaborate lie, though.
I know.
Also, like, why would you lie?
And people are crazy.
What was the reason? Did the dog not
Because the
have
dog can't
teeth?
chew or something. Yeah. But I'm like, don't they have canned food? She's like, yeah.
Couldn't you just crush it up on the table? So
Or
it's
like
dust?
a food processor or something. I don't know. So that is what I'm trying to not become.
Okay.
And I'm not there at all.
Let's
but-
make a pact. If you ever chew your animal's food, you have to tell me
Okay.
so that I can tell
Well,
you
I'm
to
sure
stop.
it might come out in different ways, but I'm just kidding. But anyways, I was just like, I'm getting weird. I'm being so like weird with my aunt. No. And she's like, you're not. You have no idea what I see. At
I
the
don't
vet
think
clinic.
you're being weird with your
Is
animals.
that a gross story?
That's disgusting.
I actually like felt like I was gonna throw up. when she was
Also,
telling it to me.
that's what she did in front of the vet. What's she doing? Like, what is she chewing? Is she chewing up the soft food? Is she chewing up that
Maybe she like I don't know. Okay, anyways.
she likes it?
I don't know.
Maybe they eat it together.
Maybe.
Well, that's traumatizing. I wouldn't even know. What did she say when the girl was chewing up the dog treat? Was she like, no, that was meant for the dog?
No, I think she's just like, okay.
Yeah, she's probably like, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm done with this day. Oh my gosh.
Anyways, okay.
Wow, we got really distracted with that.
us, but it just came to my mind and I couldn't.
The dog distracted us, and then okay. What's something you thought would be easy but totally wasn't? I said saying no to money. I found that harder than I thought I would find it.
Yeah.
Especially when you're in the early stages of a business and you're kind of like, oh my God, I need to make money to survive. Oh my gosh. And then people are trying to give you money. To say no is hard.
Yeah. And you mean like saying no because we either were like at capacity or they like clearly were not a good fit.
They're a bad fit. It wasn't what we do. Like there was a lot of times when people asked us to do things that we had already said we don't do.
Yeah.
But we were like, oh, we don't really do that, but we're capable of it. So should we just say yes and then take their money?
Yeah, it was definitely hard to like stay focused on the things you're like, I know we want to create or do these types of things. And there's something that's like kind of similar, but like on the side. And like some of the things we did do for a few people.
Yeah.
Just to like
our weak point. No, I'm just kidding.
But then it does remind you why you're like, oh, this is why I said I wouldn't do this. Or even like we had one incident where it was just a client that was like so many red flags. You couldn't even like so many.
A walking red flag. It was like flashing red.
So many red flags. And we knew we shouldn't take them. Like we knew that because of all the weird stuff. But we still spent probably like 3 hours being like Googling them, searching them, like deep diving on them, just to almost like convince ourselves that we were making the right choice.
And we did find more incriminating evidence.
But it's like, why couldn't we have just trusted our gut in the first place? We couldn't. We like needed to spend hours researching it to almost like prove that we weren't crazy.
That we were allowed to say no.
Yeah. So that's, I think you just get better at that as you practice. But that is really hard at the start.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, those red flags were so funny too. They were hilarious. I actually told friends and family about the red flags, and immediately they were like, you like do not take them as clients. I'm like, okay, so we're not being judgmental. Like we're not being crazy.
Yeah.
These are legitimate red flags that we shouldn't ignore.
Yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. And I think one of the other things that I found more difficult than I thought was just like focusing on one thing at a time. Or like, I feel like with having your own business, there's so many different like tasks you could be doing. And one is obviously like client work, which is so important. And then there's like answering this random email from like a random person that found your website online. And then like there's just so many things and so many like interruptions to your day almost. And I just found that really challenging because I like easily get distracted already a little bit. And then I just found it really hard to be like, Kate, no, like I can look at my emails in 2 hours. Nothing's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I always felt like I had to be like checking or like answering or like responding.
Yeah. Even like deciding on your service offerings, because there's so many different things that you could offer, so many different avenues you could do, but to just be like, no, we only do this.
Mm-hmm.
We can do all of these other things, but we will become the most efficient and the most profitable if we just do one thing really, really well.
Mm-hmm. And not taking on this like the stress or like the emotions of someone else's business. Like we have our own business we're running, but then based on the work we're in, oh my gosh, why is my phone blowing up?
You're so popular. Oh my God.
I'm usually never popular.
You're amazing.
Do not disturb. Okay, sorry. Like because of the business we're in and the work we're in, like obviously we see into people's companies, we see into their books. We're like trying to help them manage their cash flow, run their business, all this stuff.
Yeah.
And there were just some people that you're just like, you almost saw the writing on the wall of what was going to happen with their business. And I just found I felt like it was like at the start, I was always just like, oh my gosh, I like feel an anxiety on them running their
like you have to save them.
Yeah.
Or fix them, or
which like there's certain things I can help them with, but like at the end of the day, I can't save them.
You can't make decisions for the business owner.
No.
Which is hard because you're like, oh, if I could just help you, like you could do so amazing. Also, like they're good people. They're trying hard.
Yeah.
They've got these like hopes and dreams for the business, and it's really hard to not kind of like absorb everything.
Or even just things that are like out of not in anyone's control, but it's like, oh, hey, you hired me to like clean up this thing and I did it, and as a result you owe X dollars, and I know that that's a lot of money to you and you probably don't have it, and your bank account like that. I'm just like, oh my gosh, and now they're gonna owe this, and now there's probably penalties because they waited so long, like I'm like, none of this is my fault, but I feel this like about it. So that's definitely still a work in progress, but
it sucks being the bearer of bad
news. It was
news.
worse at the start for sure.
Yeah, it's really hard being the bearer of bad news, especially when it's something so intimate as like a business's financial success. Or so that's pretty hard. Was there ever a moment when you thought, they've got this, but I'm kind of flailing? Like whether like our competition or like looking at other bookkeepers or...
Oh, I thought this question was about you.
You're like, no, that's literally never happened to me.
No, that's not what I was going to say. I was going to say we do that all, like, I feel like we're bad for that. Well, it's probably good.
Yeah.
But I feel like I'm always like, so I know that you work so much and you're amazing. And you're like, I thought you work so much more amazing. And we're always just like, no, you work. Anyways.
I always feel like I'm doing the least out of whatever.
That's so funny. Me too. That's what I thought the question was. So yeah, definitely. The answer is yes.
Well, the answer is yes for me then. Also, I feel like with business partners, especially when you're kind of in the process of building, I feel like you kind of go through ebbs and flows of like
100%.
Maybe this person's like on an up and this person's on a down, or vice versa, or like this person feels clear in like what they're responsible for, but this person's not feeling as clear for like their aspect of the business. I think that's pretty normal.
Yeah, and it also feels like at the start you don't really know, like exactly what you're saying, like you don't really know what is your to-do list versus not your to-do list. Like you may be like, oh, I'll take this client, or I don't know. So but then you almost tend to just like kind of do stuff together.
Yeah.
Because you don't really, like, no one really knows what they're doing. So, but as you get more clear in what you're doing with the businesses, what services you're doing, it's easier to actually be like, you do this, I'll do that.
Yeah.
But it is, at the start, you're like,
well, what are we doing? No idea. But yeah, I feel like once we kind of divided, I mean, we still do some things together, but as far as like most things, once we divided kind of like who was responsible for what, I feel like it was easier to just move.
Just go. Yeah. And I think also just being honest on like what we're each good at.
Yeah.
Because we are good at different things, but then sometimes it's hard. Sometimes I think because there's a task that I'm like, ugh, I would hate to do that. I almost feel bad being like, I don't want to do that. Even though we've realized now, like, oh, I hate it and you like it.
And
so we just both need to be honest and be like, I hate that.
Yeah.
Because most things we're actually the opposite on, thankfully.
Thank God we have different skills.
Yeah.
Even though they're complementary, but they're different, which is great. And I think if we ever get to a point where both of us say, I hate this, then we outsource.
Yeah. Obviously.
Or we figure it out. But yeah, thankfully, and I feel like I've kind of felt the same, where I've either felt bad for getting you to do it, or I've felt like, oh, you probably like it too, and I don't want to take it away from you.
You can take everything.
No.
I'll never be sad someone takes a job from me.
No.
Like, take it. Oh, thank God.
No. But I've definitely been like, oh, I don't want to like take it away. Like if she really likes it, like.
That's so funny.
So yeah, I think once we were honest and we were like, I like this and I don't like this, and you kind of said the same, we were like, wow, this is perfect.
Wow, what are we
This is amazing. Turns out communication is important.
Yeah. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought that you should just communicate? So
Just say how you feel.
Yeah. Who do you think had the crazier first win, and why do you feel like it was a big deal? I can say mine if you want. If
Sure.
you're thinking.
I'm trying to.
I think our which I mean, in a bookkeeping company, not a lot is crazy. Let's be honest, but there's not a lot of wild times. Maybe wild conversations, but
That's so funny.
I feel like our first really big win was you signing our first non-friend contract. Because that felt really exciting. Because I mean, sometimes you're like, oh, yeah, we have these clients, but they're all friends. You're like, are they just helping us out?
They're just being nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So I felt like that was a super big win.
Yeah, that was cool to get like a stranger to give you money.
Yeah.
Or like hire you, essentially.
Yeah. I thought that was a pretty good first win. I guess we now kind of have like 2 revenue streams.
Mm-hmm.
Which the second one we've really just launched.
Yeah.
So that was another big win.
Yeah. Essentially taking like the work we were doing in person with clients and other bookkeepers and businesses to implement like tech and software, their workflows. Anyways, we put into like an on-demand course. And that was really cool too. To see like someone
like our
like
first
buy
sale.
A course and like it.
Yeah.
That was really exciting for sure.
That was so exciting.
So I've never sold anything in that capacity before.
No. And I remember we said that a life goal of ours was to be able to just make money in our sleep. And so the first day or whenever it was when we woke up and we had like made a sale overnight, even though it was like not a lot of money. We're like, we did it. We made money in our sleep.
Yeah.
So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, that was really exciting. That was fun.
That was super fun. So what about big losses? Who do you think had our first big loss? I have an idea.
You do?
Yeah.
I can't. Well, okay. So for me, I feel like not a big loss, but I feel like one of the things that sticks out is like right at the start. Like, obviously, not everyone's going to want to sign with you or want to.
That was my example.
Oh, okay. You go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding.
Not everyone's going to want to like work with you or sign with you. And there was like one client who, it was a weird situation because they wanted stuff done, but they also like didn't want it all. They wanted like us to do like a very small piece, but like no one else was doing the other stuff. But they were like, had the vibe of like, who cares? It's not a big deal. And my perspective was more like, you can't just do one small piece of this. Anyways, this whole thing. And so they were like, I don't know, maybe I didn't explain it well. Maybe they didn't just want to do it, whatever. But they were just basically like, okay, well, we don't want to do this. Like we don't really get what you guys are doing and we don't want to pay for it. And I remember just being like,
you're like, we suck.
I
literally hate us. I actually wrote down that exact example of that exact client.
Really?
Because I feel like that was our first kind of knock.
Yeah.
Like knockdown.
Yeah, probably. And like, of course that's going to happen. And you don't want every single person to be signing up with you because if that's the case, you're probably not charging enough money.
Yeah, you're too cheap.
But it was definitely weird just to be like,
it was like, you don't love us? This is really bizarre. I've never had this before.
Yeah. And also I think the way they were also just like, I just don't get what you could be doing for this price.
Like,
and it was like
low price.
I
like,
know.
What?
In hindsight, I'm like, that is actually a disgusting price that we like, disgustingly low price.
But also the things that
but whatever.
The things that they were asking for made it very clear that they didn't really understand that entire function.
Yeah, they wanted to do just enough so they didn't get like the government knocking on their door being like, hey, where's our taxes?
Yeah.
Like bare minimum.
Yeah.
Which actually in hindsight, thank God we didn't get them as a client because that probably would have been a nightmare.
An absolute nightmare. Sometimes
Yeah.
when you try to do that little, you actually end up just creating more work in the end.
Yeah.
Because everything is all messed up.
And I think also it was more just shocking, I think, too, because I think I already was like, oh my gosh, this guy is like nice and blah, blah. So we're going to give him like a really good deal. And we gave him like a discount. We did whatever. And then he still was like, I just don't get what you could even be doing for this money. I was
like, well, what are you hiring us for? Like, what?
Yeah. Anyways.
Yeah.
I just remember like, okay, well, talk to you later.
You were like, okay, it's so fine. I don't even care. It's so cool to chill that I don't even mind. And as much as I don't want to admit, I feel like it did get in our heads a little bit.
Oh, 100%.
Where we were like, are we priced too high? Are we worth it? What are we doing? I don't know. What are we doing?
Like, people need this, right? This is a thing.
This is a thing, right? I mean, this is what he specifically hired us or wanted to hire us to do. So now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Anyways. Oh, well. If you could shout out one lesson from the first few months of starting a business to someone who wants to start a business, what would you say?
Okay, wait, what?
Yeah, that was so confusing. I don't even know what I said.
You could just shout out.
I said a lot of words, and then I looked at you hoping that I would get confirmation that the word. To be fair, I'm reading something that you wrote.
I think ChatGPT wrote that.
Yeah.
Maybe Grok.
AI wrote it because we're tech girlies. The question, not the answer, obviously. If you could shout one lesson from the first months to someone starting today, what would it be?
Okay, I think I understand what you're trying to ask
I think
me.
what I'm trying to say is, if you could share one lesson with someone who's thinking about starting a business, what would it be?
Okay, got it.
That was so
I got
confusing.
I would just say, just start, just do it, just put it out, make it 70%, try. Because I think all the past times I've done it or tried to do something, I've always been held back by this fear of it not being perfect. And here's the secret. It will literally never be perfect because you don't even know what perfect is until you put something out there and get feedback from the world.
That is
and
so
even
true.
Still, it won't be perfect.
Even we will put something out thinking that it's good. And then a week later, we'll be like, these are all the things we would update it to make it better.
Yeah. But you're supposed to be getting better.
Yeah.
Your stuff's supposed to look better as you go. We're holding trash mics right now in this, like, I'm sure by podcast time we'll be like, can you believe? But if we didn't start, we would never do it.
No, and I think you're right. Most people just don't start. Even though they have these ideas, they're scared to start. They think, oh, if I just read one more book, if I just like plan this out a bit more, if I just learn this one more thing, if I just like have this more experience.
You're describing me.
Well, I do know you pretty well now.
That's me. I was that for years. And I think also the other part of it that helped me, just, I don't know, this is probably more my personality, like having another person with me.
Oh, yeah. It helps so much.
Yeah. Because when I'm by myself, the highs are meh and the lows are traumatic.
So low. Also, when you kind of are hit with a roadblock, it feels like you can't get past it. Like sometimes it feels so big. And then when you're talking, like when we'll just like talk about something, it doesn't feel as big anymore.
Yeah.
Like all these problems.
Because someone's just has another perspective, or just like, you know what? Who cares?
Or let's brainstorm a solution together. Like,
so there was 2 weeks at the start of our business where Ariana had to check my emails for me because I couldn't open it. I physically couldn't open it because I think we'd retired a couple clients. No, one client. Yeah. I don't even remember what it was. All I know is that I don't even think, like, in hindsight, it actually wasn't that big a deal at all. But I just like couldn't, like, the thought of getting an email from that person and that they could maybe be mad at me. Guess what? No one was mean. No one was mad. No one was rude once.
They're actually extremely nice.
It was all in my head.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I can't read it. I can't look at it. Like, you look at it. And she would be like, okay, this person emailed you and they said this kind of thing. I'm like, delete it. Don't reply. Okay, reply this and then delete it.
Well, I would like go through your emails and I'd be like, do you want me to tell you of all of these emails, or do you only want me to tell you the ones that you need to reply to, or do you want me to tell you nothing and only tell you if this one person said something?
So silly.
Yeah.
But you get,
that's what teammates are for.
Yeah. And as you like experience more, and in the moment I knew I was being ridiculous, but I was also like, I can't do it.
Well, I was like, it's fine.
Yeah. And it's a little bit less personal when it's not to you, I think. Hopefully.
Oh, way less personal.
So
I'm like, if they're mad at you. They're not mad at me. No, I'm just kidding. Even though it's probably over something we decided together.
Yeah. And that was the other part too, is like, I think I'm getting a lot better at like instinctually knowing what I should do, but I still feel like I need someone to like back me up and be like, yes, that's a good choice for me. You know, like I'll still probably end up doing the right thing, but I take a way longer time getting there, and having someone else be like, agreed, or like, yes, we're doing that. Or like, think of how many times when we decided to no longer do personal taxes.
Yeah.
I probably asked you that like 7 times.
And I was like, no.
I was like, so someone emailed us asking if we would do their personal taxes. I know we've already decided that's not a service we want to offer. Just confirming, we still decided that. And you're like, yes. And I'm like, okay. I don't know why. But the same thing where like people want to give you money for something. You're like, I don't. Anyways.
I also think the way our business has kind of shifted, and especially the direction now, we're kind of taking a different direction than the status quo of people in our field.
Yes.
And so I feel like at the start, it was kind of like, well, this is how most bookkeeping businesses or whatever this is their trajectory. These are the services that they offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so for us to say we don't want to do the status quo, we want to do something different without really having a lot of proof, that was kind of tough.
Yeah.
To be like, no, I know that other bookkeepers offer this, but we're not. I know other bookkeepers are doing that, but we don't.
Yeah. Other accountants do this. We're not.
Yeah.
We're doing this other thing
that has no proof. Which is fine, and it's turned out for the better. But I feel like that was like another difficult aspect of saying no and just kind of like staying on the right track and having confidence over the direction that we're going.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like faith, where you're just like, it's not even like I know this decision will be right, but it's like faith in yourself of being like, if this doesn't work out how I thought, I have faith in myself to identify it's not working and pivot.
Yeah.
Like that's what I've had to like reprogram my mind to be. I'm like, I don't have to have faith that this is 100% the right choice. Maybe it's not, but based on what I know today, it seems like it is. And I know that I'm smart enough to be like, this isn't going the way I thought, or it kind of is, but maybe I just need to like shift slightly.
Isn't the definition of, maybe not the definition, but isn't basically anxiety the fear of not being able to overcome or handle a future situation?
I don't know.
I think it is. I could be wrong because I am not a doctor or expert, but
you're not a doctor?
Shocking, I know, but I'm not a doctor.
Okay.
And I'm not an expert at mental health. Despite having a lot. I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to laugh. Go ahead.
Just, yeah, you're like, I know you're not an expert at that. Not the health part, the mental part, maybe. Anyways. Yeah, I think just like having the confidence to know that no matter what happens, you will be able to overcome it. Doesn't matter what the future holds. Whatever happens. Yeah. You can handle it.
And you can change your mind 50 times because no one actually cares.
Literally no one cares.
No. And I think I'm on like the 5th, not thing, but like there's so many things where I'm like, oh, I think I'm doing this, or I'm kind of working on this, or I've been doing that, like just over like so many years. But like everyone's like, oh, that's cool. That's nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you're doing that now? That's cool. Like no one's like, what is wrong with you? Last time I saw you, you said you were doing this thing and now you're not doing it. You're a liar. You're a lying piece of trash.
Well, I do still get a little bit scared because especially my friends that were there for all of those random stupid little side business thingies, they're like, another business.
Yeah. Well, now you got some.
Now, yeah.
Got some history behind you.
Well,
hopefully.
This one's legit. As legit as they've been so far.
That's so funny.
But yeah, I feel like that's basically our intro to entrepreneurship.
That was all the questions?
Yeah.
Wow. Wait, you didn't say your advice to someone, did you?
I guess not. Okay, well, I second your advice. That was so good.
Wow.
You're amazing.
It's easy when you go first because then you can... Okay, sorry, go ahead.
So you have to take the good one.
I take all the things.
Okay, another thing that helped us, which is kind of... It's not saying the opposite of what you said because I still believe in what you said. Like, you just have to start. But I feel like what gave us a lot of confidence once we did pull the trigger and start is, this is like, I feel like this is like a type B response, and now this is a type A response, but is basically like forecasting out the next year or two and determining what we needed to, like what goals we needed every single month to be able to feel comfortable to continue. Because I feel like a lot of times when you start, you're kind of just like, everything is a little bit chaotic. Like you don't really have a clear picture. Like you kind of know what you need, but then also like it's kind of hard. Like you're in this mindset of like, I need more money, I need more clients, I need more sales, like I need more because I need to survive. And I think for us, we kind of like forecasted everything out with all of our expenses, like with our own wages, with everything. And we knew how many new clients we needed to onboard every single month.
Yeah.
And so we kind of knew that if we hit those targets, we didn't have to be stressed. Like we didn't have to worry. We didn't have to feel like we were going to go under at any second. And even with this like second revenue stream where we're selling online courses, we kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Where we were like, this is how many courses we want to sell per day, or this is the average. And if we're meeting this, then we don't need to be like stressed or in survival mode.
Yeah.
Or like anything like that. And then it kind of also helps you prioritize what you're doing in that month.
100%. Because it is a weird, like, it's a weird mindset to be in where it never feels like you're doing enough. There's always more you could do, because of course there is. And you always feel this like sense of urgency and lack. So when you do project it out, like that for me helped me so much, because it was actually less clients than I thought.
Yeah.
I was
So
like,
you're
I only need to onboard like, I don't remember what it was exactly, but like I think at the start we were like, honestly, if we can onboard like 3 small clients and 1 big client every, I don't know if it was a month or whatever it ended up being. It was way less than I thought. And we're like, oh, look, after a year, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Like,
so
we're
you're
fine.
not like in this like survival, like scrounging. And it also gives you a lot more confidence to say no to certain clients, because you're like, I know I need this.
Yeah.
And I know that I can get this, or maybe you've already met that goal for the month. So I feel even better saying no to this thing that doesn't really fit.
100%. And I think it's really hard at the start to know exactly what you want to do, don't want to do, things you don't want to say no to. Like that more comes from trying it and being like, hated that. But you actually get better in all the other aspects of your business if you say no to the things that you don't like.
Yeah.
And that drain your energy and drain your creativity and our clients that, you know, like it,
100%.
One bad client can take the energy of 10 good ones.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's like a bad decision or like, oh, you're just not pushing hard enough to say no to that. You're actually just like preserving your resources for like a way that's going to actually be way more beneficial and profitable.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Anyways. Yeah. So just stop thinking too hard, but then also plan.
Wow. Very confusing.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Just dive in, but don't dive in blind. Dive in and then have confidence starting. Because I feel like a lot of people are like, oh, I want to start. Like, that's one of the things that hold people back. I want to start, but they're scared of not making ends meet. So I feel like it gave us a lot of confidence that we were able to do it, able to make it.
And then I think sometimes too, what I like to do is take a step back and be like, hey, what's my one thing? What's my one thing or one problem that if I solve this one problem, all these other secondary problems almost go away? Like, is there one problem that solves 5 of these other ones? Which usually there is. Like, it feels like there's 20 problems, but you're like, there's 20 problems, but if I can just get one massive client who wants consulting, blah, 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 then all these other things aren't a thing anymore.
Yeah, they kind of boil down into like one issue.
Yeah, it just helps you stay focused and on the right track.
Yeah,
hopefully.
Anyways,
hopefully this helps anyone out there thinking of starting a business, or if you have your own business and you're like, what am I doing? You're not alone.
You're not alone.
Been there, still there. It's scary, but it's great and it's fulfilling.
Yeah. Wouldn't have it any other way.
No. Well, thanks Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for tuning in.
If you want to learn more about what our business is, it's at air.ca. But other than that, see you next week.
See you in the next episode.